Yep. Let's move on to their rival, the Kenny Dillingham-led Arizona State Sun Devils. One of the teams in this league that has really had almost a complete roster overhaul. They are 120th in the country out of 138 teams on Phil Steele's experience chart. They're 14th in the conference, so there's two teams that are even worse than them in terms of experience coming back. But obviously the big loss is Sam Levitt, their quarterback the last couple of years, who took them to the playoffs with Scadaboo a couple years ago. He is now going to be the quarterback at LSU for Lane Kiffin. They bring in Cutter Boley, the quarterback from Kentucky. That's where I remember him from, is seeing him play a little bit in the SEC for the Kentucky Wildcats. He's okay. They also have Mikey Keene, who was a starting quarterback in the Mountain West at Fresno State and then ended up transferring to Michigan and kind of sat behind Bryce Underwood last year for the Michigan Wolverines. He left Michigan. He's now on Arizona State. So another veteran who has some experience playing high-level college football, but isn't necessarily a game changer. They did bring in some game changers out wide for these new quarterbacks to throw to, whoever wins that job. They bring in Omarion Miller from Colorado. They bring in Reed Harris from Boston College, a big 6'5" guy who's a stud. They've got a pretty good running back in Kyson Brown, who is going to be needed to replace Raleek Brown on the ground this year. But look, everywhere you look on this roster, they're adding in new pieces. They're going to need guys who have not been in Sun Devil helmets previously to step up and help get this team to where they want to be, which is back in Big 12 title contention. I think Kenny Dillingham is an exceptional coach. There's a reason that Michigan was very interested in him before they landed on Willingham. But he's got his coordinators, third season for the offensive coordinator, Marcus Arroyo, fourth season for the defensive coordinator, Brian Ward. So he has his main staff back with him. And Dillingham's one of the best young coaches in the game. He was an overtime play away from getting into the Final Four of the college football playoff a couple years ago with Levitt and Scadaboo. So yeah, I'm not ever going to write off Arizona State until I see them really not come together and lose some games that you would have thought they would win. But anything from you guys on Dillingham, on Arizona State, can be more general, or anything I missed in terms of the roster makeup this year?
I don't have a lot on the roster makeup. They obviously have lots of holes, and with Levitt leaving, that's a big one. Dillingham kind of rubs me the wrong way. I was very, very, very happy that he seemed to be the one that tell Michigan he's not interested, because he's different and not as bad, but he's got a little PJ Fleck in him, if you know what I mean. And the way he talks about how he's going to build Arizona State into this powerhouse and stuff, it just really makes me want to root against him. And I'm so happy I don't have to pretend that I like this guy at Michigan. He's a good football coach, and I don't want to doubt him. But looking at their schedule at BYU, at Texas Tech, and at Texas A&M, I think those are 3 losses right there. And then you have other, tough games, the rivalry against Arizona and other Big 12 games, which with what they have coming back, I'm not very confident in this team at all. This is a team that I'm looking at. They're under for win totals, and I might be betting more with my heart and just rooting against Dillingham at this point, but that's where I'm at on Arizona State.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you, Ryan. Listen, the douche meter on Kenny Dillingham is definitely redline, and he's a little too confident in some instances. I know you got to be confident as a football coach, but buddy, there's one thing you calling your shot, and there's another thing where you went 6-3 in conference and 8-5 overall last year, and you had the Sam Levitts, you had the Jordan Tysons, you had the playmakers that you lost all of, and you didn't really replace them. You replaced them with nobody's. Nobody gives a shit about Cutter Boley and, Reed Harris. It's like we've got an infatuation with 6'5" guys with a catch span of a double wide garage. I don't understand. I think the whole thing with Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State, to your point, Ryan, 3 automatic losses. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to Arizona at the end of the season too, and lose more conference games than they did last year. I don't see them being relevant this year. I think when you look at the experience metrics that Casey brought up, there's something to be said about that. You can't have that kind of turnover and just flip it between April and August. Like, it doesn't happen, especially when you're going to, Texas A&M and Kyle Field week 2, you're going to get waxed. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Arizona State is a fraud. Kenny Dillingham can kick rocks, and yeah, they'll be irrelevant.